Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the second episode of the series How to Be Ethereal. And today we're going to be talking about what makes you so special. And if you don't know how to answer that question, then figure it out. In the last episode of this series, I discussed how indifference is important in seduction and how many beautiful people seem to possess this quality. Indifference is an attitude, but you need personality to accompany it. You need some character. Now, before you run out into the world trying to dazzle every person that you meet, you need to have some kind of solid structure of how you want people to view you. And this solid structure is what I like to call the persona or the mask. So remember in the beginning, whenever I was talking about the authentic self. So you could say that the persona and the authentic self are opposites of one another. But what's really important to know is that you need portions of the authentic self in the persona for your persona to be believable by people. And it's very time consuming and tedious to just straight up lie about yourself and to make up something entirely. So it's best to have your persona rooted in core principles of who you are at heart. It helps you maintain the mirage. If you've watched the video previous to this, and if you haven't, I highly suggest you should now, because I talk about in the other video the 10 to 90 ratio, how you have to show 10% and you hide 90% of who you are to people. So you got to think of yourself as a celebrity. You get media and paparazzi rations, and then you're starved for the rest of what you think this celebrity is like and what their personality is. A majority of celebrities' lives are unknown or fabricated, and it's why we have such a deep fascination and obsession, unhealthy obsession with them. So that's why whenever you create your persona or your mask, you only integrate 10%, which is what you show, and the 90% is fabricated. You can play with it a little bit. Now, please hear me out. This does not mean lie. I can't get you out of it, all right? Don't lie, okay? Just exaggerate a little bit. That makes you come off as something that's ethereal, something that's more than human, but don't lie. And if you're not good with slightly exaggerating things, then you're probably better off being the quiet one. Now, on to actually forming this persona of yours. So your persona should be a heightened version of who you already are, and it should reflect your best qualities and stow away your worst ones. It should expose your most obscure characteristics for theatrical effect, and your flaws should be peeks into your humanity, but it never should be enough in order to distract from this persona that you create, this ethereal demeanor that you give off. A good persona is well crafted and strong to the core. Being unpredictable is excellent too, but you really need to make sure that you're not like shape shifting and becoming a different person every day. Your persona should be pretty concrete. People should be able to see you on the street and know who you are, be able to talk to you and get an understanding of what your persona is every day. You should be like a character in a video game. Every detail needs to be manicured to your own personal taste. So there's a few key questions that you should probably ask yourself. What is your philosophy on life? What does your everyday appearance look like? What are your unique interests? What are your favorite activities? How do you maneuver in social situations? Are you bold? Are you subdued? These are questions that you need to ask yourself in order to kind of figure out how you want to appear to other people. Because whether or not you think it, your ideas in your head are coming off in your appearance and how people view you, which is crazy. And I'm going to do a little offshoot. I'm going to tell you two stories that are important, that are imperative to understanding how to create your persona and why it's so important. So back in high school, I was pretty obsessed with personas and my, mysterious allure and how people viewed me. And so I would kind of ask people, like, how do you perceive me? And I would get feedback from them. And then I would go home and I would write down all of my favorite things. Like, obsessively, I would do this. Like, every little thing, every color, every movie, art movements, that kind of thing. And it turned out that the things that I loved and obsessed over, my favorite things, aligned perfectly with how people viewed me, people that barely even know me. So I thought that was interesting. So that was in high school. And then I went to college, and this is the one that really blew my mind. I had a class where the teacher told us to go out into the city and to find an object of particular fascination, something that we really liked. And she asked us to write about it, like in a kind of poetic way. So I go out into the city and I do this, come back after about a half an hour. And so she sits down with each one of us separately and she reviews our little paragraph that we wrote about the object. Mine was a particular tree that I would pass on my way to school every day. And instead of the tree, let's say, or whatever object, she would replace that and put I for everything. So instead of the tree is, it would be I am. And so what she did was that she proved that the things that we find so much appreciation in and the things that we like and find distinctive are actually just reflections of ourselves and our own qualities, which, like, it was crazy. Like, I would talk about how dark the bark was of the tree, and like that's exactly how I like to be seen by other people, is kind of dark and convoluted and strange, and like that's exactly how I described the tree. It was just so crazy to me. So that's how important knowing yourself and really sculpting and making this persona perfect and unique to you is. Because whether or not you know it, you're giving off vibes. You know, people can feel it and they should feel it when you walk past them. They should get an idea of who you are. It should be strong enough, almost like a perfume or a cologne. Because a properly developed persona shouldn't really need explaining. It should be obvious to a certain degree. So before you go out into the world, you need to have presence first. And it needs to be so much so that you stop the world and the silence allows people to hear your footsteps. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, this second episode. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about, kind of understanding like how people perceive you and how you can manipulate that. Playing with who you are is fun. So leave a like and a comment. Subscribe as always. Let me know what you think. I love your comments. I love hearing things from you guys. It really makes the whole thing worthwhile for me, just connecting with people on here. So I will see you guys next week.